Welcome back. So we soldered our guide just to tell you where we're at, and I polished this up so you could see where the solder was, you know, where exactly got soldered, and that's what you want to do. See the underside of it, see how the solder went through because you used the flux, and that's just fine. This one doesn't show it as much, but that's okay. It's on there. You can see it's on there from here, so it's not going to go anywhere. It's square, chassis is nice and flat. I'm using my slot car corner block, and see it's fine. There's nothing weird about it. It's not wonky or really like super crooked like if it was like off like this, but you know, it's fine where it's at right there. If I do that, you see it's nice and pretty flush. And that's the back side of it. That's basically what you want to get. Now let's just I just polished this up again just to show you what it looks like with all the soldering points. You know how you should look. Nice and flowed through. Let me get my lights here so you can kind of see better. I do have one of these lights, but that's not seem to be good enough, so I'll put this one on. I hope you can see all that. Just get zoom in, you can see how that looks. All that flowed to the back here. And didn't flow all the way, but that's fine. You know, that's good. Got most of it. That one flowed a little bit more. You can see where all the flow marks are from the flux. Like I said, if it didn't reach too much of it, that's no big deal. Like, that's very little. Small area there, but the majority of it got hit there, and you can see underneath see where it didn't travel there, and then right there it did. So I just didn't leave enough heat on it, but that's fine. That's not going to affect it. You know, it's as long as most of the solder has penetrated there, which is about, well, I'd say 70% of that. So it's a little bit right there I didn't get. Hey, you know what? It's fine. You can see where all the other ones are at, and the guide, of course. See that there, except for the other side on that one spot. So you can see it. You practice more when you solder, you get better at it, trust me. I just put a little bit more heat, a little bit longer, but like I said, it's not going to affect this. And again, that's nice and flat, as you can see, straight. A little cut mark there, I have to file that down. But that's the whole idea right there, nice and straight. You know, doesn't have to be perfect. And of course, the back, you want the rails to not be cockeyed or anything. They look pretty good there. That's what you want. And again, you're not going to cut this part till last. And I know you're saying, well, where's it gonna, you know, you're worried about the crown gear getting there. No, don't worry about that. Once we put the mounts on and we establish how we want the body mounts, then that will be the very last thing we cut. And then we're going to put little tubes so we could use as wire guides, which I do on my builds. I'm sure everybody else does. You'll see sometimes tubes will be here. They could be square around, and the guide wires will go in there. It'll make that nice loop. So this, when you get it looped the wires nicely, this flag returns to center real nicely. Going back to guides, you can use that as a guide as well. That's that hole is from a drill bit, and the drill bit size that I use for that hole is 9/64. And so if you have like a slotting plus guide like this one, instead of these big ones like here, like this commercial type style one, which I commonly use, but I've used these before on my first build and a few other 1/32 cars I've done. I haven't done one on 124 yet. I probably should, but maybe on the next one I will. But as you can see, I could get this on here. This fits this hole perfectly, and you could make a guide from this right here, and it'll fit that hole. Sorry, I'm having difficulties here because it's tough to do it with holding the camera. And let me get this in here so you can kind of see. It's the perfect size hole there, as you can see. So you can make this a guide as well. Obviously, this isn't the wrong way you'd be doing it. It'd be out more toward the end of this, so it could swing and clear the front of it. But there's also brass tubing you could use as well. That'll fit this, which would be 9/64 in inside diameter. That'll fit over this, and you just use a screw, and you could cut this to size too. This will be tall. This one's been cut So you could see the size, so you could, you know, put your screw on there. Works as a good guide too. And again, this is a typical commercial one. That this is the one that this one right here is made for, and I'll take the screw off so you could see how it looks like with it on there. And there's different type of nuts, not screw, nuts you could use. You can see that one right there, fits right there perfectly. And I'll file that down a little because sometimes that'll be kind of a pain in the butt. It'll kind of get stuck, but it seems to be moving okay for now. But I like these to move real easily. That one's okay, it looks like, but I'll still file down a little. But there's your guide. And again, when you get your car, this is what I was talking about. So I believe that'd be about the center. I'm using that just a reference. So then there's where your guide will be. Basically, it'll be right inside the car like that. You could see, perfect. And that's fine, you know. It's perfectly fine. We'll flip the car over and kind of imagine where the chassis would be. As you can see, it's fine right there. It's underneath. It'll be underneath the bumper and everything, and that'll be a good one. It's a good place to set it. Let me do it again. So, yep. Yeah, it's fine. You ain't gonna see it. That's the whole point. You don't want it sticking out. Some cars, it will stick out, like certain vehicles, and that's like modified cars. That's no big deal. But for this kind of car, I like it tucked in the, you know, in the insides of you, so it's not sticking out of the front bumper. But so that's it as far as this part of the chassis building goes, of putting your guide on. We'll go ahead and on the next video I'll put the wire guides and we'll put the mounts. I'm thinking of doing just simple mounts, which are made out of you know, out of brass, obviously, and they are the flat plate type. You could use this, you know, or the wider one, depends what you want, you know, what you end up getting, but the thin one's pretty fine. And I'll cut them out, and then I'll solder them here and in between the body, you know, from here to here, so that way when I, you know, get the body mounted, it's got the pads for it. So that's another video to cover. So that's it from Area 51 Raceway. If I do anything else tonight, I will post it, but that's pretty much it for now. You guys take care and have fun racing.